Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you guys my 2024 reading journal flip through. So this is going to be everything that I've done in my reading journal from July through now. If you guys want to see what I did in the first half of the year, I do have a flip through that I posted back in June. But if you're simply interested in what I've done since July, then keep on watching because I will be going through this one, which is primarily what I've been working in. But I also do want to show you some of these spreads that I made in the beginning of the year now that they're completely filled out. Also, if you guys want to know, both of these notebooks are from Notebook Therapy and they are in their original size, so they are smaller than like an A5 size. I don't know what size they are, but I'll link them if you want to check them out. So I'm so excited to get into this. I love sharing my journal with you guys. So let's jump on in to the flip through. All right, first things first. And now we are ready to jump into my 2024 beginning of the year spreads. So I'm just gonna go through these pretty quickly and then I will get into the rest of the spreads that I have made since the last time I showed you my journal, but I thought it'd be fun to show you kind of how they turned out. So here's my initial library overview page. I realized I forgot to fill one in, which is really upsetting. I'm thinking maybe I will just fill this in with a random color that I think would look good. We'll just pretend this says something and that I did read a book here. But I love how this library page turned out. They're always some of my favorite spreads to see at the end of the year, so I love being able to share it. Then I have my series tracker. I feel like I didn't do quite as well with the series that I wanted to continue as I thought I would have. I have, however, like DNF'd a couple of these series. I have added a couple series over here, but I don't think I made a lot of progress with these either. But I still really like this series tracking setup, so I did do this in my 2025 setup as well. And then I have my reading goals, which I forgot to fill in. I have read 120 books this year, so I have completed this little challenge that I kind of set for myself on this spread. But I just fell off with filling in these boxes because I don't really enjoy filling in the boxes anymore, so I did get rid of this spread in my 2025 setup, and I think I'm gonna like it a lot more. And then I thought we could also go through my little reading goals that I have over here and kind of check them off, see how I did with them, you know? So I definitely read 50 books. That's always an easy one. I don't know if I focused on quality over quantity. That's TBD. I'll have to think that one over. I did, however, read 2 new classics because I read Persuasion and Emma by Jane Austen, and I really enjoyed kind of the process of reading those. I also did borrow more physical books from the library, I would say, so I'm pretty happy with that. Buying less books, again, I would have to take account of how many books I bought this year. I'm not sure if I did that or not. And I also don't think I read more adult high fantasy, so we are 50-50 on my reading goals, but it could always be worse. And then I have my favorite books of every month spread, which I do have the book covers that I'm missing. I thought we could put them in together and that would be kind of fun. But this page is gonna keep flopping up, so I'm just gonna put those there. So for July, honestly, it was a toss-up between The Ornithologist Field Guide to Love and The Final Empire, but I decided I already have a couple rereads on this spread, so I will try to do as few rereads as possible. Circe was my Patreon buddy read in August, and I really liked this one, and I'm very happy that I finally got around to reading it. Fellowship for September was also my Patreon buddy read, and I had the best time rereading this one as well. And then October is also a reread. I feel like I don't really read a lot of like favorite book material kind of things in October because I'm always focused on just reading spooky books, which I always enjoy, and they're perfect for the season, but they never end up being favorites, so October is my reread of The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Then for November, my favorite book is Sword Heart by T. Kingfisher. I just had such a fun time with this one, and I would definitely be buying a copy when the like new covers come out because I think this is so beautiful. Like, this is just gorgeous. Shout out to whoever did the cover design for that because I'm obsessed. And then for December, I have Sword of Kaigen by Emma Wong because it was so good. So they're my favorite books of every month. Next up, I have my yearly TBR. I thought I would just show you guys kind of how I did with it. I think I ended up reading 11 out of 15 books. What percentage is that? I cannot do that kind of math on the top of my head. 73%, a solid C. I wouldn't say it's great, but I think it might have been better than I did last year? No, I think I did just slightly better last year because I read 12 out of 15, which would be 80%? That's so upsetting. Oh well, I have high hopes for my 2025 TBR. I feel like that one's gonna go well. And then the other spread that is kind of like a beginning of the year spread is my reading tracker kind of thing. I'm gonna move this so I don't like set some pages on fire showing this to you, but this is just where I track every day that I read whatever certain book. However, I've not filled out December yet because we are not completely through December yet, but here's how the rest of the year's looking. I did this again in my 2025 journal just because I think it's so fun. Hopefully I'll actually keep up with it this year, but it remains to be seen. Anyway, those are my beginning of the year for 2024 spreads. Now it is time to move into my journal that I did for this year since July. So I believe the last spread that I showed you guys in here was the spread that I did for my spinning wheel vlog that I filmed back in June. So let's move on from here. We have my little June wrap-up segment. This is where I kind of became obsessed with doing this like 3x3 with a double outline and stickers kind of thing. I do this a lot throughout the rest of the year, so prepare yourself for that. And then I have my July cover page. I did kind of like a cutout with sticker situation. I saw this kind of idea in an email from Notebook Therapy and I decided I wanted to try it. And I actually really like how it turned out. I think it's pretty cute. There's really no point to the cutout aside from it just like looking kind of cool because this like Dutch door serves no purpose really. I did stick a calendar on the back of this, but I already tracked this in a different place, so it's a bit impractical, but I still really like how it turned out. And then here's the rest of my July setup. I did, however, say my favorite book was The Final Empire. We will just ignore the discontinuity. We won't talk about it. But my least favorite book was The Final Girl Support Group. I definitely still stand by that, but I did read that book for Summerween, which moves us into our next spread, which is our Summerween spread. If you guys don't know, Summerween is a week-long readathon that is basically all about celebrating Halloween in the summer, which is clearly right up my alley. They're like really fun prompts. I read a bunch of good books for it. I also made like a little, you know, Summerween bucket list kind of situation, and I just had the best time doing Summerween. It is one of my favorite weeks of the year, so very happy that I have a nice spread for it. Then I just have this spread full of some book covers that I read during the year. Then I have a spread for when Cass came to visit me in December. Oh my god, June? What? I cannot speak today. She came to visit me in June, and it was our 10th time seeing each other in person, so obviously we made a little cake. We had the best time. It was so fun. Then I have a spread from one of my Patreon readathons. I did a readathon called the Trim Your TBR readathon, which is just all about getting books off of your TBR. I don't think I killed it during my own readathon, honestly, because I only read 2 books, but it was still really fun. I also just really like how this spread turned out. Here's like a little bingo board situation that I made that I did not complete. But I had these scissor stickers that Cass gifted me, I think last Christmas, that were so perfect for the Trim Your TBR concept, so I just really like this page. Then I have just more book covers of books that I've read during the year. I decided to kind of cut this one a bit short because I wanted to group all of my spooky books together on one certain spread. So this is kind of like the last book I read in August, and then the next one you'll see should have like, you know, September, October kind of reading. Just because I wanted to make it a little bit more fall autumnal themed. You'll see. The next couple spreads, well, a lot of spreads actually, are very fall and autumnal because we're moving into those times of year. But not the next one actually, because this is one of my favorite spreads that I've done in my journal to date. And that is my Yumi and the Nightmare Painters spread. I made this in a video that I did for Patreon because my top tier patrons get journaling videos every other month, so I decided to do one for Yumi because this is one of my favorite books of the year, and it turned out to be one of my favorite spreads of the year. I just love the like double pink and blue lines because it's like pulled directly from the book. I love all of the like art and illustration that was in the book. And I also painstakingly spent a couple hours like cutting the background out from behind Yumi and Painter on the cover of the Kickstarter edition because I'm insane, but I really wanted to do this. Then I have my August kind of set up, and I did a Hollow Knight theme because I love Hollow Knight. Even though it upsets me greatly, I still love Hollow Knight, and Mackenzie also gave me these really cute Hollow Knight stickers, so they were just begging me to use them, honestly. I did not fill out any of the information for August. I'll go back and do that at some point in time. And I didn't even fill out my little wrap-up thing, which is where I was going to talk about how my reading went, so August is a bit of a flop, but sometimes it just be like that. Then I have my fall to watch spread, which I make every year just so I can make sure I watch and also read some of my favorite fall things. I did a decent job. I never do a good job with the TV shows though. Like every single year, none of the TV shows are checked off because I cannot watch TV shows to save my life. I didn't even finish my rewatch of Over the Garden Wall. I still had 2 episodes left and I never watched them. But next year will be better. I can feel it. But I still do really like putting this together. I did a decent job on the movies. So, or I think I did watch The Great Pumpkin. So we can check that off at least. Oh, and I did watch Hocus Pocus. Some of these I watched on Halloween, I think, so they did not get checked off. Then I have my second bookshelf spread for the year because my one from the beginning of the year is filled up. And obviously I had to make it super autumnal themed. Obviously. So we have like some fun pumpkins. We have some little candles. I really love this one and I'm hoping I can, you know, fill up some of these. I think I do need to add some books to this though, so we can do that. I have 3 books that I can add, so we'll do that together. I've also read like a couple of ebooks recently, which always makes me very happy because ebooks are like the least used color that I have on these spreads. So I don't like specifically read ebooks, so I can add them to my bookshelf spread, but every time I do read one, I'm like, oh yay, I can like use this color that I don't get to use a lot. Because I recently read All Systems Red by Martha Wells, which is the first Murderbot book, which I enjoyed immensely. It was so fun, and I will be continuing that series for sure. Then I also read The Snow Queen, as well as The Raven and the Reindeer. Both of those being my Patreon buddy reads for the month because The Raven and the Reindeer is a retelling of The Snow Queen, and I loved reading them back to back. It was really fun. I really liked that kind of concept. So there's how my bookshelf is looking. I have, I think, 11 days left of the month, so I don't think I'm gonna be reading 8 books in that time, but you never know. Then I have my September setup, so again we have like the 3x3 thing. But this is maybe my favorite fall spread that I did. I just feel like all of the book covers look so fall-ish together, and I also love the stickers. This little guy, I've talked about him so many times, but he's a little mouse hiding behind these 2 orange mushrooms with the fall leaves at the bottom. He is so freaking cute, and I never moved this candle back, but he is so freaking cute. And I'm obsessed with him. And I do have another one that I will be using next fall. And then I have my little like spread that I made for September 1st, which is really just a celebration of fall. Has nothing to do with reading, but like I printed out some photos from Pinterest. I just like did some journaling and put some quotes over here. So really fun way to like start September. Then I have, you know, some spooky books that I read throughout the year. I have a little pumpkin border at the bottom. I never printed out fangs though. The disrespect. Oh well. Then I have my fall TBR, which I don't think I did a very good job at. Although I did read actually 2 more of these, hang on. Because I did read The Sword of Kaigen, and I also read Days of Blood and Starlight, so there's something. But I still did not read 1, 2, 3, 4 of these, so not my best showing. Then I have my October kind of setup page, my favorite book being The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, and my least favorite being The Haunting of Blackwood House. Yeah, I didn't like that one. But I really love this like title generator that I found online, but I'm so sad because I think the website recently shut down, and I'm really upset about that because I really like these titles and it just adds like something a little bit different to my journal, but it's fine. Guys, I'm fine. But I do really like my October setup. It's kind of got like a vintagey vibe to it, which I very much enjoy. Then I have more books that I read throughout the year. I used to put like titles on all of these, but I just ran out of the motivation to do that. So I don't anymore, but if you ever just see, you know, a blank spread full of book covers, that's what it is. Then I have my November TBR. How did I do? I think I actually did really well on this one because the only book that I have not read is Mort. Also, a couple of you guys did mention that I put some books on here twice. That was intentional, just to fill up some space, because I just feel like I didn't have a lot of books that I really wanted to read in November, so I decided to just print out like different editions of certain books to fill the space. But this one kind of has a vague Over the Garden Wall theme, so I have like some more specific Over the Garden Wall stickers and then just like general dark moody fall stickers. So I really like this one, even though I also did an Over the Garden Wall theme last year for November. And hell, maybe I'll do an Over the Garden Wall theme in 2025 November as well. Then no journaling really happened in November because the next page I have is my December books read spread. Although I have read the entirety of my December TBR, and honestly I'm kind of proud of myself for that. Like, imagine, I never thought it could happen. But this obviously has a very clear Christmas cookie kind of theme to it, which is very simple, but I really like this. I think it's cute. Then I have another spread that I did for my Patreon because I finally made a spread for The Starless Sea. I've been meaning to make like a proper spread for it ever since I read it last year, and I've never gotten around to it, but Cass reading the book really inspired me to do it myself, so here is my spread for The Starless Sea, and I really like it. Also, the door does open and reveals a little collage and a quote. I was so scared about cutting this door, but I'm really glad that I did because it's a fun little kind of element to add in. And then I also have these little like paper garlands across the top because even though there aren't paper garlands in the book, there's a whole bit with like origami stars, which I felt like just kind of paid homage to that in a way. And then also on these books over here, I like wrote down the stories that were in the Starless Seas. So I just really loved putting this together. It was so fun. Then I have kind of a dual spread where I'm going to be putting my final books of the year and then also my winter TBR. Obviously I do have a lot more books than just these 6 that are on my winter TBR, but I kind of just wanted to pick the ones that I thought went well together. And then here is just where I'm going to put the maybe last 3 books I read this year. We'll see if I even read 3 more. Who knows? I definitely have big reading plans for the next like 2 weeks or so, but we'll see if they actually happen. But I kind of wanted to do a fun confetti New Year's-esque theme to these 2 pages to kind of pull them together. So I had kind of the perfect little sticker sheet for it, and I really like these. Then the next spread is going to be the last spread that I have in my journal, and that is my top books of the year. I did the same thing I did last year where I like made the book covers that open just because I really like to write something about the books. But I also love these book covers and I feel like they deserve to be displayed. So all of them open. I did write, actually, I don't think I ended up finishing writing all of my thoughts on some of these. So like the Bands of Mourning is blank. This one's blank. That one's also blank. This one's not though, so you wouldn't think it, but it does take longer than expected to like even just write all of this, and my hand was cramping the other night. So I stopped and then I forgot to continue on with it, but I will go back and write my thoughts about these 3. Because they were, oh, I just love all these books so much. My top books of the year spread is always my favorite just because obviously these are like my favorite books that I've read this year, and it's so fun to put this together and like write everything about them. So I will go back and fill it in. Do not worry. But yes, there we have it. That is my 2024, well, the second half of 2024 reading journal flip through. I feel like I've definitely made a lot of spreads this year that I really, really like, so I really enjoyed being able to share them with you guys, and I cannot wait for all the journaling that I'm planning on doing in 2025. But there you have it. That is my second half of the year 2024 reading journal flip through. That's such a long title. Obviously, I would love to know down below if you guys keep a reading journal. Do you have any certain favorite spreads you like to do? I think my favorite spreads to do are probably like the book specific spreads, even though I don't do a lot of them, but they're always really fun when I do get around to doing them. But before we go, I would like to thank everybody over on my Patreon. If you're ever looking for more content from me, specifically journaling content, I do journaling videos every other month for my top tier, so I will have that link down below if you are at all interested in that. But with that, I'm going to let you guys go. Again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're all having an amazing Friday, or whatever day it is that you're watching this video, and I will see you all in my next one. Bye!